Hey, welcome to The Explainer. So today we're going to climb the ladder of wealth, all the way from the daily fight for survival to a level of riches so vast it's almost impossible to even imagine. We're going to explore where different people fit on this ladder, so let's get started. Okay, let's just start with something really simple, your morning routine. That coffee you might have bought this morning? Well, for over 700 million people, the price of that one coffee is more than their entire income for a whole day. That single comparison right there throws into sharp relief the massive wealth gap we're about to explore. So we're going to use this idea of a ladder to frame our whole journey today. You can think of each rung as a totally different financial reality with its own unique set of challenges and, well, comforts. So let's start where you have to start, right at the very bottom. Okay, first up, we're diving into the absolute foundation of this ladder, where life is literally a daily fight just to survive. So the very lowest rung, this is what we call extreme poverty. And trust me, that name, it doesn't even come close to painting the full picture of what it's really like. This analogy from the source material just nails it. Imagine firing up a brand new video game, but you've got no special skills, no gear, and the difficulty is cranked up to ultra hard mode. That's what it feels like. You are in pure survival mode from the second you press start. And here's the number that defines it all. And it is stark, living on less than $2.15 a day. Now, this isn't just about being a little short on cash. It means the basics, things most of us just take for granted, are a daily struggle. Things like clean water, enough food to eat, or seeing a doctor. None of that is ever guaranteed. All right, moving one rung up, we find what's just called poverty. It's a small step up, sure, but man, the struggle is nowhere near over. This Monopoly analogy is brilliant, isn't it? It perfectly illustrates that feeling of being trapped. It's like you're playing a game that feels rigged from the start. Every time you make a little progress, you get hit with a penalty, making it incredibly hard to build any momentum or ever get ahead. So what does that actually look like day to day? Well, it means you're making impossible choices, like, do I pay for dinner tonight or do I keep the lights on? You see, poverty is defined locally, so it looks a bit different everywhere, but that struggle is universal. And it often creates this vicious cycle where not having resources prevents you from getting the education you need to escape. This also leads to something called relative poverty, where maybe you're surviving, but you're cut off from the rest of society because you can't afford basic things like a smartphone. Okay, let's keep climbing. We're heading into the middle of the ladder now. This is where you'll find most people in developed countries, sort of balancing on this tightrope between stability and trying to get ahead. Okay, so the first rung we hit in this middle section is the lower middle class. These are the folks who are doing okay, they're above the poverty line, but they still have to be really, really careful with their money. I absolutely love this term from the gaming world, min-maxing. It perfectly describes this lifestyle. It means you are an expert at squeezing every last drop out of your budget, making the absolute most optimal choices with the resources you have. You can cover all your bases, maybe save a tiny bit, but one unexpected expense, like your phone suddenly breaking, could throw your whole financial plan into chaos. All right, next stop, the heart of the ladder, the middle class. We hear this term thrown around all the time, right? But what does it actually mean? Well, it's often called the Goldilocks zone. It's a pretty comfortable place to be. You've probably got a stable job, maybe you're a teacher or a nurse, and you can afford life's comforts, like going on vacation or upgrading your phone every couple of years. But, and this is a big but, you're always aware that taking a big financial risk could send you right back to eating instant noodles for a month. It's comfortable, but it's not totally secure. At the very top of this middle ground, you have the upper middle class. Now, this is where comfort starts to feel a lot more like luxury, but you're still not playing in the same league as the truly rich. This slide really breaks down those subtle but super important differences. So the analogy for the middle class is that Goldilocks zone. For the upper middle class, it's like flying business class. You've got extra legroom, for sure, but you're not in first class. Careers shift from stable jobs to well-paying professional roles, like a senior manager. Comforts go from a new phone to a premium gym membership or a golf club. And financial risk? It goes from something you avoid at all costs to something you can actually manage. All right, time for the final climb. We're going to the very, very top of the ladder. This is the apex of wealth. And up here, money isn't just a tool for living anymore. It becomes a tool for shaping the entire world. So the climb to the summit happens fast. First, you have the affluent. Think of it as having a nice financial cushion to sleep on. Then, the upper affluent. That's a whole luxury mattress. Next, you hit millionaire status, a 7-figure net worth, followed by multimillionaires with 8 or even 9 figures. And at the very, very top, the billionaire. The person who doesn't just own the fancy race car, they own the whole racetrack. Now, this is so important to get. We tend to lump millionaire and billionaire into the same category of rich people, right? But the gap between them, it's not just boog, it's absolutely astronomical. It's not another step on the ladder, it's like leaping into a whole different dimension of wealth. Just stare at that number for a second. $1 billion. That's $1,000 million. Honestly, our brains aren't really wired to understand a number that big, so let's try a little thought experiment just to try and wrap our heads around it. Okay, so imagine you've got $1 billion, and you decide, you know what, I'm gonna spend $1,000 of it every single day. That's a pretty nice spending habit, right? For most of us, that's a huge amount of money. Well, here's the part that's gonna blow your mind. If you spent $1,000 every single day, it would take you almost 3,000 years to spend it all. Just let that sink in. That is the mind-bending scale of wealth we're talking about. It's more money than a person could ever hope to spend in one lifetime, or even a dozen lifetimes. So yeah, life up here operates by a completely different set of rules. Your decisions? They're driven by passion, not by trying to make rent. Your wealth isn't just cash sitting in a bank. It's tied up in assets like businesses and stocks and art that are actively shaping the world we live in. But all that power, it comes with a massive spotlight of public scrutiny. So we've climbed this entire ladder, from just trying to survive day to day all the way up to a level of influence that's almost unimaginable. And it leaves us with this one big question, right? What does wealth truly buy? Because depending on which rung you happen to be standing on, the answer to that question is a completely different reality.